Hello, and welcome to the Refs Need Love To podcast, a show that gives you a real, raw, and behind-the-scenes view of one of the hardest jobs on the pitch, the referee. I'm your host, David Gerson, a grassroots referee with over 8 years of experience and over 1,000 matches under my belt. You can find me at refsneedlove2.com and on TikTok under the same name. This week, we'll be discussing my experience working a tournament this weekend and completing my Safesport trainings online. Now, I'm a pretty easy guy to get along with, and even if you upset me, I probably won't let it show. That's just the kind of person I am. When everything is going to crap, I try and stay calm and stay positive. But I have a few pet peeves as a referee, and I experienced a couple of them this weekend. I don't like it when someone shows up to the field not wearing proper uniform and looking sloppy, not really dressed to be a professional. If you're a referee and you're smoking cigarettes in the parking lot and you're not dressed appropriately with your socks pulled down, I'm not going to be a fan. Just say that. Other things that kind of irk me, and again, this is more who I am as opposed to who they are, but not putting in the effort. Someone who is not really giving everything possible to be in the right place to make a call or looking like they really care. That kills me. Hurts me. It's like stabs me in the chest. If I'm the assistant referee watching a center who's just standing in the center circle and not giving full effort, not being professional, just kills me because they make us all look bad. They talk about the referees and everyone speaks negatively about referees. They're usually probably talking about less than 5% of the referees out there, but there are some who make everyone look awful. Probably my biggest pet peeve, and the reason why this is a really big pet peeve, is because people don't need to put in a lot of effort for this one. It doesn't cost anything for this one, okay? You don't need a lot of training or experience for this one. My biggest pet peeve is when you don't show up well enough in advance of your scheduled game. Now, listen, I totally understand. Traffic happens. Life happens, last minute changes happen. Like, I get that, man. I get that. I live in Atlanta. It is the home to the longest commutes in the country right now and some of the longest commutes in the world. I totally understand that someone could get hung up on the highway and they are running late. In that scenario, I'd love a little bit of a text or an email. Hey, man, I'm running late. But generally, what I find is you have people who just don't know better, haven't been trained, don't care, even though for tournament games, you're supposed to be at the field 30 minutes in advance, people show up like 5 minutes before they're supposed to be walking on the pitch. And not just like an assistant referee, which, you can kind of get away with as an assistant. Maybe you're there 10 minutes in advance. But I had a center referee show up 5 minutes before a kickoff this weekend. Like literally seeing them in the distance walking in from the parking lot 5 minutes before we are supposed to kick off. No apology, just, whatever, walking in. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you have no idea what we need to do before a match? It's just ridiculous. When you don't show up early as a center referee, you are making a massive mistake, and you are affecting your credibility, and you are definitely affecting your fellow referees. That's right. It is not just something that you're doing, and maybe you personally don't get a chance to warm up. Maybe you don't need a warm up, whatever. But you're definitely affecting your fellow referees. Who's going to check the field? Have you walked around to make sure the corner flags are in the right place? There's no massive holes on the field, anything like that? You making sure that the goals are in the proper position? I guess not. Hoping someone else does, right? How about building rapport with players and coaches that are there? Properly checking teams in. Maybe have a little dialogue before the game. The coin toss. Speaking with the captains. Getting the captain's numbers or something like that. I mean, that is a thing that needs to happen. Now, one other thing that happens before kickoff is in the United States, we actually have to make sure that we're wearing a jersey that does not match the teams that we're reffing for the match. That's right. In other countries, and I'll get into that, they've got ways to get around that and have very little issues with that. But here in this country, jerseys are a thing. One team was playing in a yellowish neon green shirt that literally conflicted with both yellow jerseys and green jerseys, which are the two most common referee jerseys that we have here in America. We have 5 standard colors: yellow, blue, green, red, and black. And this team chose a jersey that knocks 2 of them out. Okay? That's an issue. The goalkeeper on that team was wearing red. The other team's goalkeeper was wearing blue, and the other team was wearing black. Now, we totally appreciate that goalkeepers and referees, they're rarely a scenario where we're going to get confused for each other, so it's okay to have a jersey that matches the goalkeeper, but you try and avoid it when you can. But all of that conversation about what are we going to wear happened before the center referee got to the field, and then it turns out, well, the center referee doesn't have that color. So, it's like we're going to wear blue or we're going to wear red, and they don't have red. So we wound up going blue, but we're throwing on our jerseys when literally the teams are stepping onto the pitch. Literally stepping onto the pitch. So going back a little bit, when I was there at the field, easily 35 minutes early, without even saying a word to one of the coaches, they specifically commented to me because I was doing my pregame warm-up. They were like, "Oh, I love seeing referees doing, warm-up before matches." Why do you think he said that to me? Why do you think? Because he knows that I'm going to be a professional out there. He knows that's what top referees do. So immediately, I had credibility and we could strike up a conversation. Generally, as a guide, I like to be at the field 45 minutes before a grassroots match. And I know that's overkill. They tell you at least 30 minutes, but I know traffic happens in Atlanta. And I really like making sure that I can get there, use the restroom, do my full warm-up, and be ready for the match. For MLS Next matches, I'm there 45 minutes early. High level ECNL 45. If it's a semi-professional match and you're moving up to UPSL or something like that, you need to be at the field, or USL, so you need to be at the field an hour and a half early. You're doing a serious pregame with your center. It might take 20 minutes with your pregame. You're doing a full crew walkthrough. You got to check players in. I mean, there is a lot that happens in that time. You need that time, your proper warm-up as a crew. So, if you're a grassroots referee and maybe you don't have any desire to really move up and do the highest level academy matches or move to regional, but as a common decency, please show up on time. That is 30 minutes before kickoff. So we can, that was the other thing. So this guy who shows up to my match only 5 minutes in advance, as soon as we get the jersey thing figured out, he's like, "Oh, well, let's have a little pregame now." I mean, literally, we're standing there on the touchline. I already had the balls properly inflated, ready to go. I already did the captain's whatnot. And then he wants to have a pregame conversation with me and my fellow AR. I was like, "Bruh, that time has come and gone." I didn't say anything. I stood there, I nodded politely, I smiled, and I went on and did my job, because obviously I'm not going to show any discord among our referee crew in front of anyone else. And I did not lambast, this person, but it was so frustrating because, gosh, just a little better planning. It's that classic, fail to plan to fail. A little better planning. You could have been there plenty of time. We could have had a full pregame, could have talked about anything you want. But at that point in time, you just need to get out there and do the best you can. So what can I tell you? All right, let's go back to the uniforms for a second. This drives me nuts because this is not complex. I mean, I am the type of person that loves solving problems, and I love solving problems with simple answers. Not everything has to be complex. In England, as it relates to referee jerseys, very simple. Very simple. Okay? The referees wear black for grassroots matches. All the way up, the pyramid until you start getting into the highest level of academy and into the League One and League Two of match officials in England. So, I mean, like really, really high up. So for your first probably 4 or 5 years, you can literally get away with wearing black every time out on the pitch in England. And the reason why is because they tell their teams the referee color is black. You can choose any other color, but don't wear black. That's right. They actually stipulate to the team, you can't wear black, and your keeper can't wear black. So the referee just wears black. So what that means is they can go out and get any, jersey they want black. So whether they buy it from, Amazon or their version of Walmart or whatever it is, they can wear something that's 15 pounds. They can wear something that's 30 pounds, talking dollars here, 30 quid, 15 quid, 50 quid, whatever it is, but they can do whatever works for their budget, okay? And then they get an FA badge from their local football association, and they iron or sew it on to their jersey, and they're good to go. They get whatever black shorts they want. They get black socks, whatever they want. They have their, black footwear that they're going to wear, and then they are ready to go. Again, they are taking their startup costs from what here in the U.S. could be, $100 plus, $150 easy, to maybe about $40 to get started as a referee in England. It is that simple. And that is because they have an association who's trying to keep costs down and trying to make it easy to be able to bring referees in and to not have any of this ridiculousness of trying to figure out jerseys when everyone gets to the pitch, which is so silly. So silly. I can't even begin to describe. So it's not complex. And to give you guys an example of where it works, in my local Georgia High School Association, we wear yellow. The teams are instructed, you can't wear yellow. Guess what? No one wears yellow. I only have to bring one jersey to my match. That is it. And I'm good to go. And everything works fine. And no one cries. And we do our job. And we stand out from everyone else on the pitch. This is not insane. This is not crazy talk. This is just an association looking out for their referees, which, again, I don't want to throw shade here, but U.S. Soccer, I think you need to get over the commission you're making on the official sports jerseys, and you need to start thinking about the people who are wearing those jerseys and what would be easiest for them. And that's a fact. Okay, so let's get into the games this weekend. I reffed 2 games on Saturday and 2 games on Sunday. Now, I know other referees and even people around my age did 3 or 4 games. I know one young man who was there, and he is young and he's fit, and he's 20 years old, and he did 6 matches on Saturday. 6 matches. To give you an idea, I live in Atlanta, Georgia. It was 92 degrees yesterday. It was up to 94 degrees today with about 70 to 80% humidity. It was pretty much after the first 10 minutes of the day, it was bright, direct sunshine. So it was partly cloudy, but it was crazy sunny and hot. It was exhausting. I mean, both days I burned close to 2,000 calories just in 2 matches on the pitch. These were not just any old games. These were not recreational games. This was ECNL, and I did U17 and U19 matches. My 2 centers were U19. These girls are highly technical. They are very fast. They are playing switches. They are playing through balls. It is physical. On one of those teams, one of their players who normally plays for them is at the Women's World Cup right now for one of the national teams. Not kidding. That is not a joke. That's not hyperbole, okay? That's not exaggeration. That gives you an idea of how good these girls are. Ridiculous. Some of those girls on those teams were national champions for their club not too long ago. So on both of those days, I was the assistant referee for the first match and then the center referee for the second match. I just want to say these tournaments or showcases or whatever you call them, whatnot, they are designed not to, increase the skill level of the girls and yes, or the boys that are playing it. I was at a field that just had women's games. Yes, they're trying to get them some preseason fitness, some preseason minutes before the season kicks off. So that is a thing, and that is legitimate. Yes, there may be a college coach in attendance, but I have to be honest, I think I saw two, maybe three, the entire weekend. That's about it, and they were pretty much local schools. They are there, these tournaments are there as money makers for the clubs. These clubs make about 30%, about a third, a little over 30%, a third of their annual revenue through these tournaments. And so they are incentivized to bring as many teams as possible and cram in as many games as possible into these weekends to make as much money as possible. That is a fact. That is a fact. There is no reason in the world why these girls need to play 3 40-minute matches in a 48-hour period of time. I'm sorry, I said 40-minute. I'm talking 40-minute halves. So we're talking 3 80-minute matches in extreme summer heat within a 48-hour period of time. It is ridiculous. You're not seeing the best looking soccer on those pitches. Okay, it's not the most beautiful football when these girls are absolutely gasping for breath and are on the verge of heat stroke. I had a girl today in the match where probably 60 minutes into this 80-minute match, and she begins to start throwing up like continuously on the pitch, going down to her knees. Do you think she had a bad taco? Or do you think she was experiencing the early symptoms of heat stroke? I definitely think it was heat stroke. I mean, this girl was dizzy. She was really stumbling towards the sideline as I, kind of her teammates kind of helped her up to get over to the sideline. And I'm shocked that the coach wasn't running onto the pitch to go get this girl. And we'll talk about more about Safesport later. But putting these girls through this, it's not making them better. Maybe there are a couple college scouts there, but could we do better with 30-minute halves? Something like that, just to keep it, a little bit more beautiful football out there and not run these poor girls into the ground? Okay. So enough about the girls, and we could talk a whole bunch more about the girls because I do worry about them. But how about for the referees? So going back to my buddy who was reffing 6 games yesterday, or just me who was refereeing those 2 matches back to back. So the games, again, we got 80-minute matches. Today, my first kickoff was at 8 a.m. My second kickoff was at 9:30. Okay? So let's do the math here. We've got 40-minute halves, which nothing always ends right on the 40, right? Maybe you've got like a little minute extra or whatever it goes over. Who knows? You got to walk off the pitch. We're doing 5-minute halftimes. That's right. 5-minute halftimes. 5 minutes. So yes, the players need to rest, but don't you think the refs need to rest too? Oh, and where are we going to rest, by the way? So the tournament organizers brought tents and set up tents on the field for the teams, for the players and the coaches, but there were no tents for the referees. So we're out there exposed to the direct sunshine, serious August, Georgia heat and sunshine for some people 12 hours straight with no respite, not on the field in between games, not during halftimes, nothing. Nothing. The tournament organizers did not provide water for the referees, no sports drinks, no food, no nothing. And listen, man, I totally get that we are independent contractors. Yes, I get it. And I posted a video yesterday on my TikTok about this. And people are like, well, you should bring your own water. Man, I drank my entire 48-ounce jug that I bring with me, plus the 20-ounce bottle that I bring with me on the way to the pitch, okay, in the car with liquid IV in there. And I went through that entire thing in my 2 matches that I had. Now, I keep some snacks with me as well. I've got some like Cliff Bars and some applesauce squeezes, but there is a limit to how far that can go. If I was reffing any more games, I would have been completely out at that point. And at that point, then I got to go pay, the food truck prices, to try and get some Gatorade or something like that. And I'm certainly not going to eat a burrito in the middle of like matches with no break. I mean, my gosh, I'd hate to see what would happen to me, if I had to center a match after gobbling down a burrito from the taco truck. This facility actually has a beautiful building, gorgeous building, okay, that the club officials were spending time in, air-conditioned space. There was no space available for the referees. There was no water for the referees, no drinks, no food, no nothing. Oh, and by the way, they had tents inside that building. You could literally see in the windows into the building. And there was probably about 10 tents in there folded up that they did not take the time to set up for the referees. It is basic decency. Again, yes. Are we getting paid? Yes, we're getting paid. But no one does it for the money. It doesn't pay you that much. Yes, maybe if you're a teenager, it is a great part-time job. But for the referees you really want out there, those regional, those national refs, those older gentlemen and ladies like me who really put in great effort and have all that experience, you're killing us. You are wearing us out. And I got to tell you, I don't want to do any tournaments anytime soon after the experience this weekend. Because honestly, when I finished my first center assignment on Saturday, I was dizzy. I was dizzy. You could feel it. Like you're running down the pitch and you're making a decision and your brain is just not working the way it should. You are experiencing, the oncoming feelings of heat stroke that just come from extreme heat and exhaustion. When you've run 5 miles, on the pitch after running 3 miles in the game beforehand, sprints, jogs, constant movement, having to be mentally aware of everything that's going on the pitch and communicating. It is strenuous on a cool day. It is brutal on a hot day. So the least you can do for those referees that are absolutely giving it all out there for you, yes, beyond I don't even know how much they're paying us for the tournament. By the way, I don't even know what my game pay was because they don't send that out to you when you get your assignment, right? You got to dig for it in the weird game official system. I don't even know. I need to look that up. But, for the little amount of money that we are getting paid, can you please bring us some water, some Gatorades, set up a place for us to get some shade, set up a fan? That would be wonderful. We'd appreciate it. I think there really is a problem with this whole situation of being independent contractors. Who is going to speak up for us, right? The assigner? And listen, I like my assigners. They are nice people. Nice people. But are they going to cause any problems with the event organizers or say, hey, you got to provide this or I'm not going to assign for you? Heck no. Because they're getting paid thousands of dollars to assign for this event. For the hundreds of games that happen, they're getting paid probably about $10 a game to assign referees for those games. So if they are asking for too much, maybe they'll go with another assigner. Their incentive is to get the games covered and played. It is not to take care of the referees. Am I being too harsh? I don't think so. I'm just asking for some common decency and respect for the physical contribution of the officials on the field. We are there to provide a safe and fun and competitive environment, and their event would not be successful without us. But I'm telling you, there is no way I am giving my best out there when I am running from match to match to match without any break and without any chance to recover. I mean, there's no way. My second game today, I literally walked across the field as the AR2. I bent down, I picked up my stuff, I said goodbye to my fellow referees, and I walked couple hundred yards to the other pitch where I was centering at literally the moment that I'm supposed to be kicking off. I mean, forget about pregame, right? Forget about any type of of check-in or real, just recovery. I just ran a couple miles in the hot sun. I need a moment to get my head together and be able to ref that match appropriately. But nope, got to get it kicked off to get all these games in. All right, now some fun things from this weekend. I had an amazing, wonderful moment that every referee appreciates. I had an advantage that led to a goal. It was wonderful. It's the thing everyone dreams of. That's right. I had I think there might have been a corner kick and on one side of the field, and the ball quickly, pops out to midfield, and a ball is kind of like hit long, and the center back kind of reaches out their arm, and the ball hits on their arm, below the armpit, of course, and it was going to be a handball. But the ball reflected to an attacker, and the attacker plays a through ball to one of the wingers on the left side of the pitch. And so I am following the play, and I waited on my whistle, and she played that ball through, and I got to throw out my arms and go, advantage! And so I start running down the field, chasing the play, making sure I had a good angle on it, and wouldn't you know, the winger kind of cuts in, plays the ball square, and they score. Woo! Now, parents were cheering for the kids who converted that goal, but, if there was a referee god out there someplace, they were clapping and cheering for me. All of my fellow referees who come before me and after are cheering for me. My crew afterwards was like, oh, that was awesome. It was so exciting. I mean, you want to jump up and down and cheer like the girls are cheering, but obviously you're keeping it together. It's just like, yeah, that was wonderful. I love that. It was so good. That's what you've been working for. I mean, I just like that inner monologue. It was so fantastic. So yes, that was really cool. So just wanted to share that wonderful moment of the weekend. Another wonderful moment is just seeing my good refereeing buddies. Over the summertime, not working many games, so you don't get to see a lot of people. But over 8 years of doing this, I know someone on every single crew everywhere. If you've been reffing for a couple of years, man, I know you, especially on my side of town. I mean, I see these people, not only are we friends, ref friends. We don't get to hang out necessarily outside of being a referee because everyone lives all over the place. But when we come to the pitch, we're best of friends. I work with this guy, Alex, and he's in the financial world, and I think he's 60 years old. But man, what a pro, what a pro, what a pro. I love working with this guy. He always brings his comms with him. I know, and I've talked about comms before. It's just so much fun. The games fly by. We enjoy talking about, the game while it's in action. We're just such a good crew when we work together. I will run a line for this guy anytime. He'll run a line for me anytime. We just have so much fun. There's just a ton of people, again, that I've seen, that I've worked with before, and it's just always nice to be able to connect with the refereeing community and actually doing what we love together. So I love that. And the last thing about, the ref world is, now pretty much everyone, I say everyone, I would say about 60 to 70% of the refs that I work with all know that I'm the TikTok ref. So, I mean, they listen to my podcast, like you're doing right now. They read my blogs. They've bought merch. They watch my TikToks. I mean, yesterday I posted a TikTok about the no water, no food, no tent thing. And one of the refs who was working at another field an hour away was like, oh man, we saw this video yesterday. It was the same thing for us. And they were like, thank you. So it was so absolutely cool. I also love it when the kids come up to me, especially young referees. I had this mom and two girls walk up to me yesterday. I was getting in my car, and they're like, hey, are you the TikTok ref? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, my daughter's a referee. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I wish I had coins to give them. Unfortunately, it's sold out right now, but I did have a couple of the write-on cards. The Refs Need Love 2 write-on cards were sold out right now too. And I was able to give her that, and I was able to just chat with her about being a referee, and we took pictures, and it warmed my heart. It was so wonderful. Just love meeting people who dig the channel and just inspires me to keep on doing what I'm doing, which is so absolutely wonderful. Overall, this weekend was great. I do want to say before I forget, the parents on the sideline who's like, hey, refs need love too, or they say something like that, that is also something that brings a lot of joy to me as well, because I like to think that they're watching my channel to learn about the laws of the game, that they want to be more informed spectators. They don't want to be Karens and Kens yelling, ridiculously at the referees, that they genuinely want to understand and have some empathy for the referees that are so important to their kids' lives, that are such a big part of what these kids do. And I know that sounds so ridiculous, but if their kid is, loving football or soccer and they want to do this long term and they're playing at the highest level academy and maybe they want to go university or play pro, referees are a big part of their lives. And I like to think that they want to understand us better so they can understand the game better. One other thing I almost forgot from this weekend that I want to share is that I had a moment that I think I might have made a mistake. It was a penalty situation for a handball. It was kind of a weird situation. It wasn't like one ball was just blasted in. There were like two girls coming together on opposing teams, and I saw a ball like hit someone in the chest, go down. I think the defender kicked it, and the ball came up and hit her hand that was kind of out in front of her. Her elbow close to her side, arm pointing out in front, and so it hits her hand. Now the question is, did it hit the ground and hit her hand? Because in that case, hand outstretched, I think you say it's a handball pretty clearly, right? That's a penalty. But if she kicked it and it went up to her hand, then the IFAB guidance is no handball. I'm not sure if that's actually what happened. I gotta be honest. I think that's what happened, but we don't get VAR review. We don't get video assistant referees. It was on the far side of the pitch from my assistant referee, and they were screened, so they didn't see it either. So in that case, you just gotta call what you think you saw. And in that case, I thought I saw it be kicked up into her hand. So that's it. No handball. And I said it out loud. Kicked up into her hand. No handball. I mean, obviously, people are yelling for a handball, but you can only call what you see. It is what it is. Now, the important thing is you communicate that you're confident in what you've called, and then you've got to move on because there's going to be another play after that. Don't let the last play bring you down for the rest of the match. Yes, afterwards, talk about it with your officials. Actually, one of my assigners, his daughter was on the team, and he, after the game, very politely asked me about the situation, and I explained what I saw. So, I mean, again, I have no problem talking about it after the match, but you can't belabor the point when you're in the match. Again, as I said on a previous podcast, be like a goldfish and move on. I did have one parent I needed to address this weekend. I had 4 matches. This was the only person on that pitch that I heard not just an outburst of emotion, which we use, hey, handball, offside, whatever, but it's like, that's horrible, that's awful, you need to be calling it both ways, that kind of stuff. Okay, so I heard him the day before. I didn't address him, didn't get that bad, but this morning, man, I was exhausted. And the first time he had one of those outbursts, immediately pointed at him, looked at the coach, coach, that guy right there, you need to deal with him because he is about to get kicked out. Enough. And I'm telling you, dude went, sat down, didn't hear him the rest of the match. It was wonderful. I didn't need to speak to the guy directly. I just spoke to the coach, but he knew that my patience for his bullshit was very limited, and I wasn't taking it when I'm given 150% in outrageously difficult conditions, and he's sitting under the shade of trees, drinking out of his Yeti, cooler or something like that, whatever. I ain't having it. So overall, fitness this weekend was pretty good. I have been dropping pounds over the last month, getting ready for the season. I felt like I had stamina. I did well, but the heat was brutal. I tried to hydrate, but we need to be mindful of heat stroke out there. Even if coaches are like, no, we don't need a water break. If you feel you need a water break, take a water break, not just for the players, but for you as well as the referee. Which brings me to the last topic, Safesport and the overall safety videos that I had to watch this week to be able to ref this weekend. I understand that these things are, important, but man, it feels like just complete liability coverage from U.S. soccer. It's probably 5 hours of content. They could probably get down into 1 hour. I think the content around cardiac arrest, concussions, and heat stroke, very valuable. Some of the other stuff, though, gosh. Every single year I have to watch the content about looking out for child abuse and all those types of things in those situations. I get it, it's important, but man, you could do it in microburst learning, 3-minute sessions, just move it a lot quicker, show that you have the knowledge, whatnot, and move on. It could probably be done in an hour and a half total, not 5 hours. That's all I want to say about that. So that's all I got from this weekend, guys. I hope you enjoyed the pod. I hate seeing referees being taken for granted. Additionally, health and safety of the players is considered, but we need to be considering the health and safety of the referees as well. I think much more needs to be done to protect everyone on the pitch. If you like the show and my content, please consider supporting me by purchasing some merch at refsneedlove2.com or on my TikTok. The pod, website, everything else I do has a cost beyond just my time. Purchases from the store help me cover the cost of doing this. Good luck on the pitch, good luck in the upcoming season, and I hope your next game is red card free.